So I'm about to do some Waterslide decals for my headstock. And so here's my logo that I designed. And so what you do is I'm going to print them out in reverse, and then we'll paint this area with a metallic ink. And then when the Waterslide decal goes on, you'll get a real crisp, clean line with the black. And so I've already got some of these copied over to a sheet, so I'm about to print this off, and these are the right size for my headstock. And this is Waterslide decal paper that I'm going to be using, and so let's just print this real quick. Yes. Once I get these printed out, we'll take them downstairs, paint them, spray them with some clear coat, and then cut them out, and I'll show you how to apply them to a headstock. Of course it printed when I turned the camera off. So here's my logos. They're, like I said, they're in reverse, and so I'm going to get some ink, metallic ink, and paint within those lines. So when we attach it to the headstock, we'll get the relief, and the black lines that I printed right there will act as, the true perimeter of the logo, and the silver ink will, stand out. So it's a real easy process. It's really inexpensive. It's a lot easier than trying to inlay stuff and then fill it with epoxy, or buy a prefabricated logo and then inlay that. I can just do Waterslide decal. I can get photorealistic designs, so if I want to put a picture for a custom guitar or something, I can just use a Waterslide decal. So let's get these downstairs. I'm going to spray them with clear coat, and then we're going to paint them, and then we're going to cut them out, spray them with clear coat again, and then put them on the headstock the way you would a Waterslide decal, and I'll show you that process next. So here I've got my logos painted, and I'm going to let these dry completely. I'm going to spray these with clear coat, just a clear semi-gloss. We'll cut them out, and then I'm going to affix two of them to two headstocks. So it's just metallic ink, the really fine tip pen, and you'll see what they look like when we reverse them and put them on. So now that I've got them painted, this is the side that we painted. I'm just going to hit them with some clear semi-gloss to clear lacquer. Just let them sit. This way it seals in, the paint, the ink from the inkjet printer. Just makes it all, that's plenty. And that's all I do, just that little bit. And then once we flip them, the reverse is going to look really nice once we get them on the headstock. We'll do that in just a second. Just let this dry. So I just put this one on. Looks good. I'm going to show you the process with the Stratocaster, because I still need to put one on the Stratocaster. So I've got two more to choose from. Pick one of these top two. I'll go spray them with clear lacquer, cut them out after they've dried, and you stick them in a bowl of warm water until the film starts to peel away, and then you just lay it on there and make sure you pull all of the moisture out from behind it. I do that with a dry paintbrush. And once the water dries, I'll spray this again with clear lacquer, and it'll seal all of this in. So you just need to make sure it's real clean. So let's do the Strat. So I've got my headstock. Just make sure you sand it back with 600 grit so that it's really smooth. If it's not smooth, if you have bumps, moisture will get trapped under there, and it'll create like a cloudy effect. It happened on the Telecaster I just did, so I'm going to have to start over. take your decal, cut as close to the design as you can, because this paper, you know, at some angles you'll be able to see it. So, you know, here's my logo. Drop it in some water, it'll crinkle. Depending on how much clear coat you spray on these, if you don't spray any clear coat, it'll usually resume its original shape, you know, flat like this, once the decal's sort of pulled away. But when you add clear coat, it does something. And so they don't really pull away, and to be honest, they're kind of hard to get off. You've got to really kind of mess with them and try not to wrinkle the decal. But if you do wrinkle the decal, it's not the end of the world. They're actually really resilient. You'll see in just a second. So I try to get one dry hand. I've got a paintbrush here that's dry and clean to brush away the excess water underneath the decal once I come to put it on here. So you get your surface wet, just feel around, make sure it's smooth, you don't feel any bumps. Let's see if it's ready. And I sort of bend it back flat, and I ever so slightly see it's ready. It'll start to pull away from the paper. Lay it down. And just as very easily, you know, try to separate the paper from the decal. So there we've got a good decal. Make sure the decal's good, yeah. Sometimes you get outside the lines with that pen. So I want to remove as much of the moisture around where the decal is, not on the decal itself, just around it, without touching it as I can. And then I'm going to try to position it. And you know, that actually looks pretty good, to be honest. Let me move it up just a hair. And it's real easy to move around. You just have to be real, you know, gentle. I'm going to try to get it centered. That looks good right there. Maybe a little higher. That should be enough out of the way of the machine head. Looks good. And so now, oh shit, you want to use the correct end of the brush, especially when you're on video. Start to get the moisture from underneath the center of this thing and pull out. You've got a real smooth surface, especially if you've got a smooth surface and I guess it's for either dark or light, any type of wood. As long as you have a good smooth surface, you shouldn't see the decal film that much. You know, you're obviously going to see it when you look at it at a certain angle, and there's you can just see the relief catch the light a little bit. But for the most part, if you've got it really well smooth, and 600 grit is small enough for that. 400 is probably fine too. You can get a really good bond between the top and, you know, the actual decal and the wood. And I'm going to spray this with clear coat next, once the water is completely dried. And that clear coat will seal everything in, and so, you know, if you rub it, it feels just like the headstock. It'll hide some of this clear decal. You know, like right here, there's a little spot where there's clear decal. There's clear decal here. Clear coat kind of hides it. It masks. It gives it another layer of, you know, masking. And I love these things because I mean, you really can get photo quality stuff. You know, I can put a picture of Jimi Hendrix right here. You know, this big, and it'll look nice. So this Strat is almost ready. I'm gonna have pictures of these taken tomorrow, and then on September like 21st, I think it is. It's a Saturday. We'll be in Longmont. There's a Oktoberfest, and Bonnie and the Clydes are playing, and Taylor Sims, who's Clyde, is getting the Jazzmaster that I made, and so I'm taking it up to him, and I'm bringing the Stratocaster and that Telecaster to see if anybody else wants to buy something. But they're playing at the Oktoberfest at 5 o'clock on Saturday into September in Longmont. It's going to be awesome. It's sponsored by Left Hand Brewery. I love Left Hand beer. So it'll be exciting to go to something and, you know, hear one of my guitars live. I'm curious to see how... I know they sound good cranked up because I do it here at the house every now and then, but man, when you're live and you really get to push your amp, you get to hear a different side of your guitar, you know. So I'm excited to hear them live. So there we go. That looks good. It's real easy. It was a lot harder the first time I did it than I thought it would be, but you get used to it. You just got to do it a couple of times. So there it is. I sprayed clear coat to cover it, and you know, it's really clean. You can hardly see where the lines are if you do it right, but you really have to cut close to your, you know, your shape. But looks great. I can't wait to have good pictures taken of these guys, because I really hope this gets sold in Colorado. It's a really great feeling guitar. It's very light, well balanced. Can't wait to put strings on it and see what she sounds like. She's ready. Tuner's coming in the mail tomorrow, so I should have a sound test video, I don't know, Monday, early next week. Cool.